Good morning students. Today I will teach you class 8 chapter 2 microorganisms friend and foe. As I already discussed in previous lecture about the microorganisms and its harmful effects as well as benefits. Now I will discuss the next topic, that is food preservatives. Sometimes you have seen your meal give a bad smell, taste or even change in color. This is due to the spoilage of food by the attack of some microbes. To prevent the growth of microorganisms on our food is done by certain preservatives that are called food preservatives. So, our new topic is food preservatives or the food preservation. The food preservation is the process of prevention of spoilage of food by prevent the growth of microorganisms in such a way that the nutritive value of food is maintained. This process is called food preservation, and the substances which are used to prevent the spoilage of food is called food preservatives. There are a number of methods that can be used to prevent the spoilage of food. Here are 6 methods that can be used in different food items to prevent the spoilage of food. First of all, number 1 is chemical methods. Sodium benzoate or sodium metabisulfite are the preservatives used in the prevention of squash, jam, jellies, in which we can prevent the attack of microorganisms and save these items for long terms. Next is prevention by common salt. Amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, meat and fish are saved by applying common salt to these food items so that we can prevent the growth of microorganisms. Next, prevention by sugar. Jams, jellies and squashes can be saved by the adding of sugar to the food items. It helps to reduce the moisture and absorb water from the food content and inhibit the growth of microbes. Fourth method is prevention by oil and vinegar. It helps to prevent the spoilage of pickle and vegetables, fruits and meat items, also saved by applying oil and vinegar. Prevention by heat and cold treatment. Boiling the content also kills the microorganism, or by placing the food item in refrigerator, that is at low temperature, inhibit the growth of the microorganism. Here I have a term, that is pasteurization. So pasteurization is the heating of milk above 70 degrees Celsius to 15 to 20 minutes, then cool the content and store. This process is pasteurization. You can already see your mother boil the milk and place it in a refrigerator and use it for 2 to 3 days. This helps to prevent the spoilage of milk. So this is called pasteurization. So next is prevention by storage and packing. Dry fruits and vegetables are sealed in airtight container where the attack of any outside microorganism on the food item can be prevented. So here are the 6 main methods to preserve our food So this process is food preservation. So the next topic is nitrogen fixation and nitrogen cycle. Here I have drawn the nitrogen cycle. So firstly we have to know about the nitrogen fixation. As we know, our atmosphere contains 78% of nitrogen gas. Nitrogen is very essential component for all the living organisms. In many other components like nucleic acids, vitamins, chlorophyll, all these contain nitrogen. So nitrogen is very essential component for the living organisms. As our atmosphere contains lot of nitrogen, it can be fixed by certain bacteria or microorganisms. Rhizobium bacterium or blue-green algae are the two main microorganisms which are used to fix atmospheric nitrogen. The atmospheric nitrogen is convertible to some usable form by the bacteria, rhizobium and blue-green algae. Here I have to discuss about these nitrogen cycles. Sometimes the question rises, the content of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains constant. So here is surprise for you how the content of nitrogen is constant as it is used by all of us and it is very essential component for all of us. So how it is constant? Why it is not consuming or remain less time by time? It is not reducing. Here the amount of nitrogen is not reducing. It remains the constant. So question arises, how it is possible? The answer of this question is explained by nitrogen cycle, that how the amount of nitrogen in atmosphere remains constant. As you see, atmospheric nitrogen is fixing by bacteria. As I have already discussed, the rhizobium bacteria from leguminous plant fix the nitrogen to some usable form. The atmospheric nitrogen, the nitrogen fixing bacteria fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Next, the bacteria in turn fix nitrogen into nitrogenous compound. As I told you, this nitrogen converts into some usable form. This nitrogenous compound from leguminous plant goes to the soil. The compounds of nitrogen goes back to the soil. This soil is enriched with the nitrogen as it taken up by the plants through their roots. Uptake by plants. Nitrogen is uptake by plants through soil, and these plants are eaten by some animals. So the waste of animals or dead or decaying bodies also convert nitrogenous waste from excretion and death. Similarly, this substance goes back to the soil. Also from the soil, bacteria turns nitrogenous compound of nitrogen into the gaseous form. So in the gaseous form, it returns back to the atmosphere. So in this way, the nitrogen goes back to the atmosphere and the amount of nitrogen remains fixed. So the answer to this question is explained by nitrogen cycle. So I will give you some key points about the nitrogen cycle. It is very important you have to write this or draw this nitrogen cycle on your classwork as well as homework notebook. So I will give you some key points. Number 1, we have 78% of nitrogen gas in our atmosphere. Number 2, the bacterium, rhizobium and blue-green algae convert the nitrogen into nitrogen containing compounds which are usable. So bacterium, rhizobium, blue-green algae are present in the soil. So in this way, the soil contains the nitrogen containing compounds. As from the soil, the plants take up the nitrogen containing compounds. Some animals eat plants. In this way, they take up the nitrogen from the plants. Some animals have their waste, or some animals are dead. These dead decaying bodies and the waste of these animals, that nitrogenous waste, goes back to the soil again. Sometimes in the soil, bacteria also convert nitrogen into gaseous nitrogen. So this gaseous nitrogen also goes back to atmosphere. So in this way, the cycle remains the same and it is continuous. So amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere remain fixed. So we have done with the chapter 2 microorganism. I have attached the PDF of workbook with this video. You can write the work in your workbook and revise the chapter. Thank you.